Jonathan, I am sure you're ready to start with the show. Welcome to WP-Tonic. We're back. This is episode 13, isn't it?
It surely is, Bill, and it feels like it.
And we're all caught up with all our shows are up online. This is on 1 November. We're going to actually put this up later today.
We hope so, Bill.
Right now on the 1st and the 15th of each month is the goal to hit the show up.
Yes, Bill.
And our numbers are doubling.
They are.
You know why? Because I sang on the last episode, number 12, on the intro.
I think you were on something, Bill. That's what I think.
It was too late at night.
Of course, you got to deny that, haven't you?
So let's drive on.
Right.
So a lot has happened. We're going to be talking today about the local schedule and meetings, what's going on this month. We're going to talk about WordCamp San Francisco. And of course, we're going to get to our topic, which is going to be all about security for WordPress. So reference the schedule. We've got two things happening. Today's 1 November. On 3 November, you're going to be the guest host at the Reno Masterminds at Swill. And that's Swill Coffee and Wine in Reno, Nevada. And that's on the 3rd at 5:30.
Yep, I look forward to it.
So what are you going to talk about there?
I think I'm going to talk about WordPress and business because of the group that I'll be talking to about how I feel with the latest developments over the past year in WordPress, that if you're looking to build a business, sell products, sell your experience through, sell anything basically, PDFs, audio, training materials. That's what I was looking for. Training materials. It's got fantastic plugins. Whatever you want to do, I feel WordPress is the way to go.
Okay, that's good. And also notice that you have your Blue Yeti working today.
I do.
I would like you to turn your gain down just a dab so people can see. You're listening to it and it's just the sound. Not much. Keep on talking, though.
Hello there, Bill.
See, that's perfect. So we're getting, Jonathan is the WordPress guru. I am the sound guru.
That's one way. That's one way of putting it.
Or it could be the sound Nazi.
I won't go that far.
We want good sound. We're always working at having good sound. And I won't go into detail, but mechanically we're doing some different things today. Okay, so we've got then on the 6th, we have the WordPress meetup at the Reno Collective. Really easy to find on 100 Arlington, right across from the river downtown. Your favorite place?
Certainly is.
It's a nice place. I like it. I used to be full-time there. I'm just using it part-time right now as we need. I used to do my interviews down in the Reno Collective, which I miss it, but right now we're going to be working more out of my office and doing more Skype and this type of interview and technical work. So driving on, where are we? Okay, so we're going to talk about WordCamp. You went to WordCamp this month.
Yes, I went to WordCamp San Francisco 2014.
That's one of the big ones too, isn't it?
It's the biggie. And Matt was speaking. Unfortunately, it's my first one, and it was the right decision because it's going to be the last one. They're going to next year. They're going to do a WordCamp USA, and it will not be held in San Francisco. It will be held somewhere else.
So for our listeners, explain about WordCamp. Exactly what is WordCamp? Where can you find it? How can I go to one? And there's apparently the big one. This was the big one, San Francisco.
Yes, because it's run by Matt and Automatic directly.
Matt runs this one?
Yeah, he has a sizable element in it. And his team at Automatic have a strong input, and they directly run it. I actually think they probably will. I'm not sure next year because that might be a bit confusing, but maybe the year after. I'm sure the Beat Up group in San Francisco will probably run one, but there'll probably be a year's gap, and I'm only surmising that. But there will not be one in San Francisco next year run by Matt and Automatic. It will be somewhere else in North America.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about, first of all, there's WordPress WordCamps all over the United States.
Yes,
they have one in New York. All your big cities have them.
Yes.
Reno had one once.
Yeah, we, that's one of the reasons why I've been running, taking over, and with Matt Fitzgerald's help, I've been running it because it stopped running the meetup group for about 4 months, and I think it's does provide great value to the community, and it has great benefit to the WordPress um, um, tribe.
Hey,
Yeah,
for our listeners, explain. You're talking about Matt. Matt, where's Matt's business located?
in San Francisco, Automatic's office is Automatic is the private WordPress.org is a non-profit organization, and but WordPress.com is directly run by Automatic, and Automatic is a privately held company.
Yep.
And Matt is the CEO of Automatic, and him and his Automatic team have a high level of control. It's still volunteered based, but Automatic help out, and so does Matt with the running of the main meet.
So how many people were there in San Francisco?
About 1,000.
That's huge. And it's going to move somewhere else next year. Maybe
big-
Las Vegas? Or how about Reno?
I don't think it'd be.
We could do it, Reno. We have a lot of big facilities here that could be used in hotels. If you do it right now, this time of year, okay, Matt, I know you're listening out there.
I don't think he is.
I know he's listening. No, he's going to listen to this. He's going to get the word. I know he's going to listen to this. Okay, Matt, Reno is a great place this time of year to have your WordCamp USA meetup because rooms are inexpensive. It's not ski season. It's not summertime. We don't have any of the big events going. Right now is the time to have the meetup here in Reno. And it's only a few hours drive from San Francisco. Yet you can fly in from all over the world. We have a good sized airport, and there's a lot of beautiful sightseeing if you come up here the Friday before. So that's my plug to have the big conference here. The other place is Las Vegas, but I think you do better here than even Las Vegas, especially this time of year.
Actually, you're absolutely correct, Bill.
Matt's going to listen.
Right,
I saw our numbers. Our numbers are getting huge.
They're getting better, Bill.
They're getting huge. No, they are. They're getting. I bet this one will double too. We're going to be up around 1,000 downloads an episode. I bet within this month.
That's fantastic.
I don't want to bet too much, but I know we're doing well. We're doubling constantly.
Right.
So driving on, there's a lot we could talk about WordCamp and meetups, and maybe we could even. Did anyone talk about podcasting at all?
Not really. No, they didn't. It's a highly developed focus. They have design and development. I spent most of my time in the development hall. They split it into two halls. It was held at the University of California.
Yep, good place.
They've got a nice facility there, and the catering I thought was really good, but Matt said it could be a lot better. And it was interesting. They had it was technical though. The development talks were not too technical, but you did have to have a knowledge of WordPress to get anything from it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to give a plug for the Atlantis because Atlantis has really improved their technology. I work around Reno, and I'm doing these Google Hangouts live at some of the luncheons, and they're doing really well at the Atlantis with assistance and processes and upgrades. So I'm going to even give a plug in for the Atlantis, which is right across from the convention center.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's my plug for WordPress USA.
Yeah, and yours truly. Matt did a presentation about what were going to be some of the leading developments for WordPress in 2015. And afterwards, he had a session where you could ask questions, and I asked him a question. I asked the great Matt a question, Bill.
Well, great. I know he's going to be listening in, so anything you say, he's going to hear.
Oh, well, there you go.
Hey, the other thing, too, is I'm going to give a quick plug for my product right now. You're working on MailRite, which it's coming along. I'm working on a combination of just a real quick Genesis product to pop up a simple podcast to get people going on WordPress for podcast. I don't want anyone to ever have to go through what I went through, transitioning from my learning both how to podcast and in getting WordPress up. I want to make it real simple, real fast.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, Bill. I
That's why
think,
I'm always messing around with better systems and simpler systems. The simple system is the USB mic, which is like your Blue Yeti you have now hooked into your MacBook Pro, which works fine. But the next level is what I call a pro level, which I'm doing right now.
oh
And
yeah,
that's using the mixers and tying everything together.
right.
So anyway, it's good. That's WordPress. We'll have to talk more about
Yep. Shall we get?
we'll talk about
Shall,
the camps more. But let's get into the meat of the show, which is security.
yeah.
You've got 19 minutes to tell us all about security. So you
Right.
have some really good notes, and I did a little bit of research too on security. So where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start. It's going to get increasingly more important to be serious about security. I've come across a lot of WordPress owners that haven't maintained the core or any of the plugins, and they've got away with it. I think those days are dying rapidly. Um, the good news is WordPress is just expanding enormously. About 80 million websites now are run on WordPress, and that figure, by what Matt was saying, will only escalate tremendously in 2015 with the internationalization of WordPress. They're getting very serious about language packs. Only 5% of the world population speaks English, but WordPress and the core developers and Matt himself are determined to make WordPress as easy to utilize in as many languages as possible. So the growth is only going to accelerate. Unfortunately, that has consequences because just like Microsoft, Microsoft itself is not inherently unsecure. But what's happened is because most of the world, I'm a Mac person, but most of the world does use Microsoft. And because of that, it has become a target for every hacker, every script kiddie in the world. And the same thing is going to happen to WordPress because WordPress is going to have a dominant control over the website development. Most of your malicious code attacks and your kid scrippies are going to aim their attention at WordPress.
Halloween is over. Halloween was last night. You're scaring me.
Sorry?
You're scaring me. Halloween was last night.
Yes. So security is important. So basically, number one, how do you make your WordPress website more secure? And there has to be a balance here. What you're trying to do basically is make it as secure as possible, but also you as usable as possible. You could try and make your WordPress website as secure as Fort Knox, but there isn't. But there would be an enormous price to pay for that. In basically, it would become difficult to maintain the site, to post new content on the site. It would become rather frustrating if you tried to make it 99% secure, because the reality is you can't make any website totally secure that's publicly facing. So there's a balance between making it as secure as possible and still usable and enjoyable to use. So there's a balance. Um, so you've got to keep that in mind. So there's 4 steps that I've written that I fundamentally utilize on my own websites and definitely with clients' websites. Unfortunately, unless you're actively managing the site, you're normally called in when a site has been hacked. And I'm going to go through that in a minute. But to start off with, you need a good
We got to go through the 4 steps.
Yes, we're going to go through the 4 steps. And number one is that you need a good hosting provider. Basically, you need a good lookout. And it's a bit like it's a bit like the Romans when they built Hadrian's Wall in northern England. Along that wall, they all had lookouts, and they were looking out for the barbaric
Scots.
Scottish Pict tribes that would raid the north of Roman territory. So that's what your hosting provider should be. It should be an active lookout. When it sees that your site is bombarded with attempts to get into the login page, which it should be um, observing, it should lock down those sites automatically for you and then contact you and say
Attack.
there's strange activity going on here. And this is why you don't want to go with cheap, nasty hosting, because they can't afford to be your lookout at
Cheap, nasty hosting. We
yes,
won't mention any names.
no, but you do, not always, but you do get what you pay for. And we've covered hosting
Right.
extensively in our last podcast about speed,
Right.
and
And you're using Right Now, which you got an affiliate on your link.
which we will have affiliate. I utilize this company myself. I will only affiliate
What?
products that we actively use
So what's
ourselves.
the name?
It's SiteGround.
It's like, and it's very good. I've watched Jonathan really transition to this new host, and it's very impressive. Your speed is. I mean, I've really impressed with some of the sites, the
Yeah,
improvements. And
yeah,
I use Bluehost Pro still, which is a very good package for what I do right
yes.
now. For right now,
Yeah, but my friends at SiteGround, not only they provide good value on the higher packages, they provide superb email support.
right, right.
It's the best that I've come across. I would personally say it's better than WP Engine.
Right, right. And I'm real happy with Bluehost, and we got the affiliate Bluehost on my site, and we'll have that affiliate. We'll have the affiliates on both our sites. So
Yeah. So that's step one. Have good hosting. They are your lookouts on the watchtowers, and when they see unusual activity, they should contact you and be proactive. Number two, it's really necessary when in any security to have really good backups of
right,
your website, not only of the database but all the physical files of the website. And a lot of people say to me, well, my hosting provider does backup. Um, that is true. And if you've got a good hosting provider, they will have good backups, but they should be only your last resort. And I mean your last
right,
resort. They could have, their servers could have been attacked and they might have lost most of their backups. And I'm going to destroy this gentleman's name. He's South African, Eddie Pernera, who's one of the founders of Woofu Themes. Um, he did a talk and he described that him and his partners almost lost their whole business because they got attacked, or the hosting provider's servers got attacked, and they didn't have any workable backup. And almost all the hosting providers' backups had all been corrupted. And they were just lucky that they had a backup that was on a hard disk that physically been disconnected from the server network. And it was 6 months old. And they just happened to have that. And they could restore their business. But you said if that hadn't happened, we probably wouldn't be seeing Woofu themes at the present moment. So I think that was quite a
that's a good story. I've got a story too.
eye.
A 70-year-old gentleman. I'm not going to mention his name. Who's a trainer, a Hollywood trainer, had a small group of people from Hollywood he's training. He started blogging, and he blogged over a long period of time. He started blogging 15 years ago, but he really just did it without evolving and learning more about his blog. And he got attacked with a devil sign, so it comes up on his website, the devil, and he lost everything. I mean, he that really affected a big blog that he had for a long time with no backup.
No, it's just
He,
crazy.
I mean, he had another web page where he's selling product, but he lost his blog, and that was a huge blog.
It's so sad, really, isn't it?
And all he needed was a backup to recover that.
It's a sad story.
Yep.
But the truth is, there probably are copies of that. There's archive sites that index all the
Right.
internet, and there probably is ways of recovering that data.
I think it's yeah. He just doesn't even want to go after it now, but he just lost his entire blog without a
Yeah.
backup.
So backup is really important when it comes to security. Having your own backup system and we've gone through there. There's a number of really good backup plugins and services out there that will do effective backups of
Right.
your database and all your physical files of your site. Um, so you must get that sorted
Right,
out.
and we've had special courses. One of our episodes was on backups. One of our
It
early
was,
episodes. You
yeah,
can go back,
we have spoken about backup a lot. Yeah,
and we'll have
oh,
some updates down the road on backup too, because I'm now using the Genesis framework, of course, with Dynamic for the for the podcasting model. I'm giving out to the students, and it's got an automatic backup in it that you can back up before you do anything
yeah.
in Dynamic.
Do make sure that it's not just the database though,
Yep.
but that it's backing up all the important, the theme, all
Yeah,
the
we have a child theme over.
yeah. Make sure it's backing up everything, not just the
Right.
database.
So
Now,
driving on backup's important. That's where you start, because if you do get attacked, you can always recover, right?
exactly. And then point three. Point three is slightly controversial, and it doesn't directly make your site secure, but it does make your site. It's making your whole site secure socket layered. Um, you, if you observe all the major websites now, like Twitter and or some other, the other ones are escaping me, but you look at all the big websites like Yahoo, Twitter, all everything is under secured socket layer. That's that green icon in your taskbar of your browser. And I think in about a year's time that almost a lot of hosting providers are going to insist that your whole site is under a secure socket certificate. And they used to be really expensive, but they've gone down in price. And about 6 to 8 months ago, most hosting providers they introduced new technology that are now allows a a certificate to cover all your sites under a particular domain name. You would have your top tier domain name and you would have subdomains, and one certificate will cover everything, right? It used to be that you had to get a certificate for every domain, but now with this new
Oh,
technology that runs on Linux servers, and most hosting providers are running on Linux servers,
right.
this will work. You used to also have to have a fixed IP address. You don't actually need that now. So if you're having problems with your hosting provider where there's insisting that you have a fixed IP address for your secure socket layer, it might be time to move on to another hosting provider.
I just went through this with some of our sites. I have the secure site on the nonprofit, and then on my site, we're not secure yet, but Bluehost will give me one free secure site.
Yeah, it does vary, but I don't think
Yeah.
that's the best deal.
And then I bought my security site from my domains reside on GoDaddy, and then Bluehost is where I do my hosting. So it's kind
Yeah.
of strange. It's a little bit interesting. That's a whole
So
detail.
why am I suggesting this? Well, basically, the actual getting the secure socket layer proves to everybody that you're a real business, that you're a real entity, that you have to give information. So when people, if you do get hacked, their reaction to what has happened won't be so severe that you won't be straight away but black labeled, because they can see that yes, it's probably your site's been attacked, but you are a legitimate business because you have a secure socket layer and you've had to go through that process to prove who you are. So no real hardcore hacker that's setting up temporary websites to attack other websites is going to go through this process, because the last thing they want is to be found out what they're doing. So they and also um, you don't actually have to buy the actual certificate from your hosting provider. Most, they will encourage you, but you can actually buy the certificate from a third party and then either install it yourself, which is technical but not that hard, or your hosting provider should be prepared
Right.
to install that at a realistic price. if they want to charge you something ridiculous, again, it might be time to look at a different hosting provider. Um, I A really good provider of really effective but very cheap secure certificates is a company called Namecheap, and you can get a perfectly functioning certificate from them for $9 a year. Um, and I wouldn't use them for hosting or domain name parking. I don't think they've got a reputation not being a fantastic company for that.
No,
So,
we could do a whole show on this
but
SSL.
but it is important.
If we do a whole show, because there's so much to it, because I'm going through that right now. Now, I do have a lot of friends who don't have their primary marketing sites SSL, but what they do have is they've got their training sites, the sites you buy or pay into for
Yes.
training
Yeah.
on SSL, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going to keep my
Yeah.
timelines
Well.
of
Yeah.
success. I think eventually I want to go timelines of success SSL because they even say it enhances the searching.
It does. That's the other
But
factor.
it is a hassle when you do it because you got to change everything to SSL, right?
Well, no, you can actually go into the back end and you just have to make from HTTP to HTTPS.
Yes.
But the problem is that if you have external pictures coming from other servers or any asset that's coming from external server, and that connection is not a secure HTTPS, it's going to flag up in your browser and you can get a warning message, or the page itself won't show.
Right. That's not secure.
There are ways around that,
Yeah.
but it can be hassle.
How about YouTube? That's one of the big ones, and we put a lot of YouTube clips
I
up.
think most of their stuff is,
Yeah.
I think their site is all HTTPS.
I think we probably need to go into this secure lock layer system in more detail in another show.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So I've gone into that, and I think that will become more and more powerful. And then I go in to some of the plugins that
Number
I,
4 is the plugins for security, right?
yeah, and I use two. There's a number, but I utilize two. Now, I'm going to butcher their name, Shukuri, are very well known in.
SUCURI.
Yeah,
Security.
they're very well known in the WordPress community. They've been in security for quite a while now. I think over 4 or 5 years. They're owned by two great guys, and they've built up a fantastic business and reputation in the WordPress community. And they provide two free plugins, but I only utilize one, which is called Security and Auditing Malware. And they do provide a service, a paid service, but
That's
this,
auditing malware.
yeah,
Security
uh,
and auditing malware.
that's right.
That's it.
If you go into the WordPress org and look under the library of plugins and do it under there, it will come up. And this is a fully functioning free plugin. Unfortunately, most clients approach you when they've already been hacked and they've got a major problem. And you can utilize, and normally bad PHP code has been injected into a lot of the key files, and manually going through those files is not practical and not secure. And you utilize this to but flag up where the hacker has injected bad code, and then you can do something about it. And it does work, and it has other functionality that I utilize as well. I propose to do a video screenshot where I go through the two plugins that I'm going to talk about and show people how I set both up, because you can set both plugins that I'm going to talk about in a way that can drive you crazy, and scare the pants out of you. So I set this up, and it does an audit, and then they do a paid service where they're keeping an eye on the website, and for one domain they charge you 19.99 a year, and they keep an eye on things for you. But I just use it because I'm basically the IT or the webmaster for my clients. So I utilize this plugin, and it does a great job.
Right.
Right?
Very good. Very good. So that should finish up our 4 points in summarizing.
No, I haven't finished talking about iTheme security.
Okay, go on. Drive on.
The next plugin that I utilize is what is now called iTheme Security. It was called IP Security.
Hey, Jonathan, can we break for 2 seconds?
Yes, sure.
Just be quiet for 2 seconds because I want to do some analysis. Okay, what I'm doing is we can go back out. I'm just going to take that section out that I interrupted you. So what is our next security issue is?
Um, it's another plugin. I utilize these two plugins together, and that's a plugin called iTheme Security. It was called WP Security, but the developer has now become a member of the iThemes team, and iThemes bought this plugin. Plus, they hired the developer to work with them full time. And iThemes is a very well-known plugin shop and theme shop. It's very highly respected, and this means that this plugin has the full support of iThemes. They do a free version and a premium version, but I find the free version, if you utilize it with the previous plugin, provides more and enough security options. The actual screens, the option screens, are a bit intimidating and very long-winded, but it provides an enormous amount of functionality. And like I said, I propose to do a video screencast where I'll go through the options of how to set up these two plugins, and I'll probably put that up in the next week.
Okay, good, very good.
Now, so I've covered four things in detail, and also I did a few months ago. I did even more detailed, well, a slightly different focused blog post, and that was about you as a semi-developer going in and hardening. That's the term that's utilised, hardening your WordPress site. And I got a very detailed post, which I'll also probably put on the WP-Tonic's website, and probably link it to this material and this podcast. So you combined, you will have a very detailed set of notes and information. Plus, with the screencast I propose to do, you should have a very good resource that covers all the key aspects of security.
So going up for me, you got hosting. Just four things to remember. Great hosting. It'll give you your first line. You have to have a good backup to recover if you do get attacked, which is very possible even with great hosting, or things do go wrong. SSL certificate and a security plugin.
Two
security plugins. So if you have all those things, you're going to have a pretty good system. You may get hacked, but you're going to recover, and your business is only going to be down as long as it takes you to get that website back up.
You know what? This is a bit cruel, really. But what you're really doing, it's a bit like protecting your house, isn't it? You could make it so secure that it would take forever to get into your own house, and it would be such a pain. Yeah. So you look for a balance of increasing the security of your house security without it becoming a nightmare to get into your own house. But what you're really doing is that, if a burglar or a team of robbers are really, really determined to get into your house, they will. But what you're really trying to say to the burglar, go somewhere else, find somebody that is less secure than you, and go and rob their house.
Hey, let me mention one last thing too. We didn't really talk in the 4 points, and this goes before WordPress, is have a good computer, good password protection, and good systems in your own house. And I mean, just your computer where you start, whatever monitor you're using. If you're going to log on to your site, just simple stuff in a public area. I shouldn't be really doing some programming in a public area, maybe at Starbucks. That's not a good place to work. I have to take that out. I can't say Starbucks. So no. If you're in a coffee shop, that's not a great place to be working on secure
Well,
sites.
that's one of the factors about the whole site being under a secure socket layer, is that communication between and that the
Right.
back end. If it's all done under secure socket layer, it will be
Yeah,
secure.
that's true. That helps. But I'm just, for the average person out there who's getting started, you just want to watch where you're working on your site.
You've got to be a little bit
Yeah,
careful.
be careful. And you know, I'm big into the Mac. I believe the Mac provides you a little bit more security because it won't get viruses in itself. If someone's doing what they call it, a key check, where someone's watching your keys as you type.
Well, you shouldn't. I do. I'm breaking. You shouldn't run your Mac as administrative mode, but I do. But the reason why I get away with it is that if something wants, it will still ask when
Yeah,
you're downloading a bit of software. It will ask you, do you want to install this? And if it's not from a secure source, somewhere you don't ever download software from the internet
right.
and just installed it.
You know, my Mac is always going to ask for the password before it loads any
Yes,
software, which I like. Just you're very
yeah, yeah.
so.
Make
That's why you can do administrative on.
if you know what you're doing.
Right.
But if I was dealing with a very novice Mac user, I would not let them run that computer in
Admin.
administrative mode.
Yeah. So that's where you start. Well, that sort of should finish it up for the show today.
Yeah, it's been quick and fast, but I think there's going to be a lot of resources on the WP-Tonic website. I think if I do the video screencast and link to the previous blog post and put it on the site, the our viewers, our listeners will have a fantastic resource that will cover a lot of the things they need to know about security.
Very good. Well, we're going to get this show up today. Today is 1 November, a little bit of snow on the hill above us, about 500 feet above me. There's some snow.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a storm coming in,
It
or
snowed at Lake
has.
Tahoe last night. I'm at 5,000 feet, and there's snow just 500 feet above me on the hill.
Yeah, it's great.
So,
All right,
all
Bill.
right,
So,
Jonathan, very good. Stay on the line for a second.
yeah.
We're at 36 minutes right now. Let me pause I want another quiet pause. Hey, a couple of things. I might have adjusted your sound down. You're spiking out a little bit.
Right.
I'm very close to being able to put this up on Adobe Edition where we have both your track and my track. So we can see it.
Right.
Very, very close. I'm going to turn this off so we're not recording. I don't want to do any extra